Vast, ominous, mythical.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most unsettling undersea phenomena that still aren't fully understood.
I remember one sound in particular.
Number 50, the Purple Orb. With under 30% of the global ocean having been explored, it makes sense that there would be unidentified life forms lurking within its depths. In 2016, researchers at EV Nautilus found one for themselves.
So how do we get it, Lee? Suction?
Floating thousands of feet below the surface of the Channel Islands was a vibrant purple orb. It immediately stumped the scientists, who had no clue if it was an egg sac or a sentient organism that had never been seen before.
Oh, wait for it.
They secured it and pulled it up to study it further, leading to the theory that it could be a new type of sea slug. Since then, no answer has been confirmed, meaning everything from the identity of the creature to how it survived down below is still a mystery. Number 49, Earth's hum. Even during the quietest of times, the world is never truly silent. Around the world, some hear a never-ending droning noise now known as the hum.
First of all, your ears are ringing real bad. Second of all, it's nauseating. And third of all, if it's a real bad day, it actually feels like your brain is being squeezed.
For decades, scientists speculated that human-made inventions were at fault. It wasn't until 2004 that seismologists put forward a new idea, that it was caused by waves crashing against the ocean floor. However, most recordings had been taken on land at that point, leading that theory to be pushed aside. Less than a decade later, the hum was recorded deep below the surface near France's Réunion Island, and matched recordings taken above ground at the same time. Though its origins are still unknown, this breakthrough opens up the possibility of it being emitted from the core of the Earth itself.
We know what it is. I feel sure we know what it is. We just have to get other people to listen to us and believe us and do something about it.
Number 48, shipwreck lootings. Not even oceanic depths are safe from opportunists. In the past several years, there's been an uptick in divers going out to the sites of historic shipwrecks and stripping them of anything valuable, and desecrating countless watery graves in the process.
Wrecks like this dot Sweden's eastern coastline. The timber is well preserved because of the Baltic's low salt content. But the team say they've noticed several other thefts from shipwrecks in this area.
Craft from World War II have been targeted, primarily for the steel used to build them. Dozens of warships that sank in eastern seas during the conflict have been looted, with several perpetrators remaining unidentified. It doesn't end there. Miles away in the Baltic Sea, wrecks dating back to the 17th century have been rifled through, resulting in the theft of several artifacts. While authorities are cracking down, there's no telling just how much has been lost or needlessly destroyed for a quick buck.
With the authorities on board to help, these archaeologists hope to be able to better protect the Baltic's underwater history and preserve the wrecks beneath the waves for future generations to learn from.
Number 47, rogue waves. Part of what makes the ocean so intimidating is its unpredictability. Nothing encompasses that more than rogue waves, a mysterious phenomenon that suddenly creates enormous, untamed walls of water.
By definition, a rogue wave is greater than twice the height of surrounding waves. Technically, that could be a 5-meter wave rolling with some shorties, or it could be a 30-meter nautical nightmare.
Boats and lighthouses are no stranger to having these behemoths crash against them, with the former often capsizing after being struck. They were once believed to be a myth, until the 84-foot Draupner wave was recorded in 1995. Being disregarded for so long has resulted in our current knowledge being incredibly limited. Several causes have been suggested, from wind energy to different currents clashing with one another. Their origin has yet to be confirmed, meaning they are impossible to predict. This means that even the most peaceful day at sea has the potential to turn unexpectedly deadly. Number 46, cold water mirages. Not everything is as it seems, especially not in the middle of the ocean. The often contrasting temperatures between the air and water below sometimes result in an optical illusion known as a fata morgana.
Titanic is sailing through waters where a layer of warm air is sitting on a layer of colder, denser air.
They distort images, from stacking them to stretching them beyond belief. This then tricks the mind into seeing something that isn't really there, such as supposed ghost ships and non-existent islands to UFOs. Each one is caused by a variety of different factors, making them unique from one another. Some researchers have speculated that they may have caused lookouts on the RMS Titanic to not be able to spot the iceberg that eventually led to its demise.
The lookout said, there was a strange haze on the horizon, but a lot of the officers said it was completely clear. But in fact, of course, both were telling the truth. It was completely clear, and there was a slight haze on the horizon.
Though it isn't confirmed, it would paint the maritime tragedy in a new light. Number 45, underwater train graveyard. It's easy to see how a boat or plane would end up sinking. A train engine makes less sense, much less two of them.
Sitting upright on the bottom, side by side, are two intact 19th century steam locomotives, only about the size of a modern-day work van.
In 1985, a charter boat captain made a bizarre discovery off the coast of New Jersey, a pair of rare 15-ton 19th century Planet Class 222 locomotives. How they ended up 90 feet below the surface of the Atlantic is still unknown.
A cowcatcher sits on the bottom not far from one of the locomotives. Other than that, it's just natural bottom in every direction.
Not only is there no record of them disappearing, there's no written proof of them being built at all. Some assume they were being shipped across the sea when a storm hit, causing them to fall or be pushed off. With no answers, they've become one of the most fascinating and haunting nautical mysteries in the United States. Number 44, the cenotes of the Yucatan Peninsula. They're a diver's dream and a thalassophobic's worst nightmare.
As we enter the cenotes cavern, I realize that I'm truly heading into another world.
Within the Yucatan Peninsula lies countless unexplored caves and underwater sinkholes, each with their own secrets. They've formed over a period of millions of years, with some of the cenotes having been submerged over the last few centuries.
The tunnels were formed by water rushing through and dissolving the soft limestone.
This has created an historic treasure trove, teeming with artifacts and fossils dating back to the Maya civilization and even earlier. With over 10,000 being known so far and only a fraction of them having been mapped, we can only guess what else is buried within their depths. Those brave enough can dive there and see for themselves, but they may just come across the unsettling remains of ancient animals and humans alike. Number 43, the Carter Seamount. The mountains found on land are impressive on their own. The ones that form miles below the surface are nothing to sneeze at either.
The waters above seamounts are alive with ocean predators. And by lighting the ocean depths, we can see.
Scientists have theorized that they're the result of extinct volcanoes suddenly rising from the seafloor, but few have been studied enough to know for sure. The Carter Seamount in the Atlantic Ocean was recently found to exist on oceanic crust dating back to the Cretaceous period, but samples they collected were instead linked to an era occurring millions of years afterwards. This revealed that it was composed of multiple former landforms rather than just one. Even with all the strides made, there's more to be learned about, as well as all the other seamounts scattered throughout the sea.
Much of the open Pacific is empty of life. But above seamounts, life is abundant.
Number 42, Gackal Ridge. The ocean has far more nooks and crannies than one might think, and few of them have been explored to the fullest extent. One of the most mysterious to date is Gackal Ridge, the area between the North American and Eurasian plates. Recent studies have revealed several secrets about the expanse. Besides being home to a plethora of active volcanoes, several hydrothermal vents have also been found. While looking into those, scientists unexpectedly discovered never-before-seen species of microscopic life and volcanic deposits.
10-foot-long tube worms that have no mouth, no eyes, no gut.
You'd think these findings would provide answers, but experts are still stumped. There's no telling what else lies beneath those icy depths, or when we'll understand even a fraction of what has already been uncovered.
What's it going to look like? I can tell you right now, I have no idea what the animals are going to look like.
Number 41, the Von Dam Vent Field. The discovery of hydrothermal vents in 1977 was a shock to the scientific community itself. Since then, different subtypes have been noted, including the talc-based Von Dam vent field. It was found in 2010 and has become a source of intrigue for marine researchers. They're covered in shrimp feeding off of matter and bacteria expelled from the vents, and are home to other creatures as well.
Seemed like there was a much larger shrimp accumulation, slightly uphill, another 4 or 5 meters.
The shrimp have been of note due to them positioning themselves in a way that they benefit from normal water and the extreme conditions of the vents. There's still so much to be confirmed regarding how the field generates heat and houses so much life, and any concrete findings could make us rethink others existing within the ocean.
They haven't made it all in there yet. I'm going to have to do a little dance with the arm.
Number 40. The French submarine Surcouf. Something so giant being permanently lost to the depths is truly unsettling. Surcouf was the pride of the French. At just over 360 feet long, it was the largest submarine ever built at the time.
The Surcouf, by far the largest submarine in the world, with her 8-inch guns, her torpedo tubes, and her own reconnaissance plane, could have been a menace to our merchant shipping. It's as well she came over to us.
That made its 1942 disappearance even more chilling. It inexplicably vanished while en route to Tahiti, taking 130 lives with it. It was reported that she had sunk after accidentally being hit by the American ship Thomson Lykes. That theory hasn't satisfied everyone, leading to others being created. Some have claimed that enemy officials were aboard, leading to British forces planting bombs on the hull. Others have posited that she fell victim to the Bermuda Triangle. Until the craft or its remains are found, then even the most unbelievable claims can't be fully dismissed. Number 39. Shipwrecks in a gullus current. When it comes to dangerous waters, infamous areas like the Bermuda Triangle immediately come to mind. There are others that are just as hazardous that we know little about. The Agulhas Current along the coast of South Africa is a perfect example, often referred to as the graveyard of ships. The zone is riddled with intense rogue waves that sometimes reach nearly 100 feet tall. Not even the largest ships are safe from them, with over 24 being severely damaged or sunk between 1981 and 1991 alone. While freak currents occur all over the globe, why they have been so prevalent here is still unknown. Until that's understood, should you have to travel through here, we recommend holding on as tight as you can. Number 38. The Stronsay Beast. In 1808, the citizens of Stronsay, Scotland were shocked when the corpse of an unidentifiable creature washed up on their shores. The beast was over 55 feet long, had 3 sets of limbs, and had bristles on its fins and down its back, which reportedly even glowed in the dark.
This must have been an extraordinary sight.
The identification process was made harder thanks to there being no way to preserve the remains. Some immediately claimed it was a sea serpent, while skeptics suggested it was merely a decomposed basking shark. However, the latter claims have largely been dismissed due to the differences in their sizes. With no way to test its remains, we may never know what it was, or if others like it lurk beneath the depths today.
Until we have something to actually examine, I keep an open mind.
Number 37. The SS Waratah. Some may think that the RMS Titanic was the first major maritime loss of the 20th century.
Any ship that is described as unsinkable, never go on that ship.
However, just a few years beforehand, 211 people vanished along with the SS Waratah. At 465 feet tall and weighing thousands of tons, it was deemed unsinkable. Yet that wasn't enough to ensure its safety. She was seen for the last time on July 27, 1909. After passing the horizon, she was never seen again. Searches began days later to no avail. More were conducted in following decades, but no sign of the ship or those aboard have been found. Several theories about its fate have been made, from whirlpools to freak waves. To this day, it remains one of the most mysterious and horrifying oceanic tragedies. Number 36. The Tonga Trench. Even the deepest areas of the ocean are teeming with life. This is proven by the Tonga Trench, the second deepest on the planet.
Very successful dive, very peculiar dive. Strange in a number of ways.
Despite being miles below the surface, countless species have managed to survive, to the befuddlement of marine biologists everywhere. Those associated with shallow waters, such as rays, have also been seen swimming down below. Even more compelling is the Capricorn seamount being taken over by the trench itself, suggesting that those forms created by the waves may be destroyed by it as well. Despite all that has been found so far, we've only scratched the surface of what the area has to offer. With further research, there's no telling what else is lurking down there.
So we're questioning ourselves at the same time as questioning the natural world.
Number 35. The Upsweep Sound. Researchers love making recordings of the various sounds produced within the ocean, but it's rare that one is so loud that it can be heard throughout the Pacific. First recorded in 1991, the upsweep sound's repeated sequences at various frequencies reminded researchers of sounds often made by alarm systems. Experts have spent decades trying to find its origin, to no avail. The noise has only decreased in volume since being heard, creating more questions about it. So far, the dominant idea is that it was caused by deep-sea volcanic activity. Yet, despite having an exact source for the original sound, no concrete answer has been achieved. there's no telling what emitted the noise or what happened to suddenly make it diminish. Number 34, the Twilight Zone. Go deep enough and you'll come across a vast region where the light permanently fades.
There's life here, but not as we know it.
Despite being shrouded in darkness, the mesopelagic area, otherwise known as the Twilight Zone, contains a flourishing ecosystem. It takes up a majority of the planet, yet experts have barely scratched the surface of the marine life within.
This fish has been living for so long here that its fins have changed into something more useful. Feet.
The plethora of mysterious fish found within are interesting enough for some, yet even more intriguing for us is the Osprey Reef, a field of coral that thrives despite being shrouded in near total darkness. The finding redefines what was once known about underwater coral growth and survival itself at those depths. With the seemingly unending amount of sensitive species, both identified and not, it could take years before we properly learn about them all. Number 33, the Greenland Deep Coral Reef. Though the Osprey discovery proved they were in other areas, it wasn't the first of its kind to be identified. That distinction goes to the Greenland Coral Reef, which was first found back in 2012. The finding was made accidentally when researchers accidentally smashed their equipment against the stone coral while trying to search the waters it resided in. Since then, several other types have been seen within the icy waters near Greenland. Despite forming similar structures as their warm water counterparts, practically nothing is known about them. Only a small fraction of the northern reef has been studied, leaving everything from its exact age to the various creatures it serves as a breeding ground to a complete mystery. Number 32, life beneath the Ross Ice Shelf. In 2022, scientists came across a mind-blowing discovery, an ecosystem resting below the planet's largest ice shelf.
So when we're mapping the Ross Ice Shelf, we basically were flying backwards and forwards like mowing a lawn. But this is a lawn the size of Texas.
The team drilled down into the Ross Ice Shelf to make predictions about climate change, but came back with something else entirely. What they originally thought was random sediment or a marine show was actually an Antarctic river teeming with tiny arthropods. This, coupled with the 2014 revelation of sea anemones hanging upside down from the shelf, proved that it was capable of providing a habitat for multiple species. How they came to adapt to the frigid waters is still unknown, but for now, it remains one of the most intriguing nautical mysteries in recent times. Number 31, the Yonaguni Monument. Since being accidentally discovered in 1986, this landform has remained a source of constant debate.
ちょうどもう35、6年前でダイビングポイントを開拓中に偶然にも探したんですよ。見つかった時にはね、興奮しました。
The Yonaguni Monument looks like a massive set of stairs, with edges so perfect that it seems only a human could have carved them. That was what led marine geologist Masaki Kimura to posit it being built by citizens of the mythical continent Mu. He even claimed to make out human-made amenities. His findings may have been questioned by other experts, who suggested it had formed over millions of years. Though Kimura's claims seem outlandish, until concrete evidence is found, they can't be dismissed entirely. The question of whether or not it's proof of an extinct civilization can only be answered by the depths surrounding it, meaning we may never know the truth.
与那国島を訪れたダイビングの方々からよく聞くのは、与那国モニュメントのところは非常に神秘的だというようなことはよく聞きます。
Number 30, Immortal jellyfish. Eternal life is something you usually hear about in fiction rather than reality. However, there are some beings that have evolved to essentially live forever, even if they live in extreme conditions. Turritopsis dornii, better known as the immortal jellyfish, have the unique ability to return to their polyp stage when faced with something potentially deadly. While they aren't immune to predators, they can still evade other causes of death such as old age and assault. Marine biologists are still learning more about how this process, also known as transdifferentiation, truly works, and if it can be replicated in a medical setting. It's hard to believe that something so tiny may hold the key to one of humanity's biggest curiosities. Number 29, the HMS Daedalus' sea serpent. One of the benefits of living in modern times is that many animals have been classified, quelling fears about the existence of fantastical beasts. However, for those living in the past, seeing an unknown or unidentified creature confirmed those worries. This was the case for the crew of the HMS Daedalus, who in 1848 swore they saw a large sea serpent swimming alongside their ship. They reported that it was at least 60 feet long and was more comparable to a reptile than a fish. Some modern-day specialists have asserted that they saw a sei whale, although there hasn't been any evidence confirming that theory. Given the Daedalus's description of its size and speed, there's no wonder they automatically assumed it was a monster. Number 28. Kaz II. Cases of disappearances on dry land are already unsettling. The thought of someone going missing while surrounded by nothing but open water is even more unnerving. In 2007, a yacht dubbed Kaz II was found miles off the coast of Australia. When it was searched, the team found that the entire crew, Derek Batten, Peter Tunstead, and James Tunstead, had vanished. There were signs of recent activity, including a table set for a meal. The life jackets and lifeboat were still there, indicating they hadn't swum or ridden away from the craft. After an investigation, the authorities concluded that they had fallen off and were unable to reboard. Although other ideas, such as them being stranded on a deserted island, have also been suggested. Number 27. Giant oarfish.
An ambassador of the deep comes to the borders of our world.
When hearing about the things that live in the deep ocean, it's hard to fathom that some can even exist. A fish that can grow to almost 60 feet in length and weigh over half a ton is nearly inconceivable. The giant oarfish's size, dorsal fin, and multicolored body helps it look more like an alien than something you'd find at your local aquarium. While some have traversed into shallow areas, they're usually elusive. This has made it difficult to learn more about their behavioral patterns and life cycle, with research on the latter only starting in the last few years. We have the opportunity to learn more about them in real time, and when we do, it'll be an achievement in the maritime field.
Seem to be definitely using the chain as a point of reference. Can you follow this up?
Number 26. The Abyssal Zone.
Where the seafloor drops to more than 6,000 meters, the pressure is so enormous that it destroys the structure of the cells of which an animal is made.
Not to be confused with the Twilight Zone, this is another point so far underwater, the light from the surface is no longer available, leaving everything in a state of total darkness. While that would be terrifying for any human to experience, there are some critters that have adapted to the harsh conditions and even thrive in them.
Turn off the submersible headlights and you see a pyrotechnic display outside.
Experts are still trying to learn just how these ecosystems can be sustained in such unforgiving terrain. It's so devoid of oxygen that many beings die if they can't make it to a safer area. Those that survive, such as mollusks and crustaceans, have evolved to do so in various ways, such as extracting the element from higher waters. This zone hasn't been fully explored, meaning there could be even more organisms lurking at the bottom.
Dolphin can dive to 4,500 meters, 3 miles below the surface.
Number 25. Abandoned lifeboat at Bouvet Island. This discovery feels like it came straight out of a horror movie. Picture the scene: a totally abandoned island with not a soul around. The only evidence of past existence being a half-sunken lifeboat. It was discovered in the 1960s and jump-started a decades-long mystery about where it came from and who could have been on board. A search was conducted, but there were no indications that a person had ever been there, besides the rowboat itself. It has remained a nautical conundrum to this day, although some have theorized that it belonged to a team of Soviet scientists. While that may explain the origins of the vessel, the question still remains of who was aboard and what happened to them. Number 24. The Devil's Sea.
Waves change quickly and unpredictably. So if you're relaxed on a boat in these places, you will get into trouble.
We've all heard of the Bermuda Triangle, but that isn't the only area to be wary of in the ocean. Off the coast of Japan is what's commonly referred to as the Devil's Sea, due to the strange and tragic things that have occurred there. With a nickname like the Dragon's Triangle, it's developed an ominous reputation for itself.
Down here lurk powerful, deadly forces. Forces that imperil all who sail on or under the Devil's Sea.
There have have been plenty of supposed cryptic activities, such as a pilot reporting an odd phenomenon in the sky before disappearing, and a ship going missing for several days. Some have claimed that these strange happenings are paranormal, while skeptics insist they must be environmental. Whether the occurrences were caused by ghosts or undersea volcanoes, it's clear that something is amiss in those troubled waves.
That's right in the middle of the Devil's Sea. You might as well tie a stone to your foot and jump off the boat now.
It'll be an adventure.
Death is not an adventure.
Number 23, Bermeja. Various craft and people going missing at sea is not uncommon, but a whole island disappearing certainly is.
He wants us to move the island.
Bermeja was first added to naval maps in the 16th century after being found near the coast of Yucatan. However, after a survey taken in the late 1990s, it was discovered that the islet wasn't in its supposed spot. Over a decade later, more extensive studies corroborated this discovery. This was baffling, as it had been recorded by multiple cartographers. So how did it disappear into thin air? There are some people who believe that something insidious occurred, namely the CIA destroying it to aid the United States. However, there are scientific explanations that make more sense, with the most likely being heightened ocean levels. Number 22, the Hadal Zone.
Everything's going haywire, and I'm getting deeper and deeper.
You've maybe heard that we know less about the ocean than the dark side of the moon. We could have created that expression for the Hadal Zone, the area that lies in the deepest fathoms of the sea. Frigid cold temperatures, intensely high pressure, and barren living conditions all ensure that only the most survivalist of species lives down there. These alien-like creatures shouldn't exist, but their ethereal adaptations somehow make it possible. Its geological formations are also wondrous, sporting V-shaped trenches and submarine canyon-like depressions that could have been sculpted on Mars. Though notable explorers have reached the Mariana Trench, only a fraction of the Hadal Zone has ever been traversed. It holds great potential for undiscovered fantastical ecosystems. So what else is hiding there? Number 21, the Mariana Trench.
Our expedition's dive into the deepest parts of the Mariana Trench has revealed sea cucumbers and amphipods.
It is the deepest point in the ocean at over 35,000 feet below sea level. But beyond that, what we know is limited. The Mariana Trench is a formidable area that's teeming with biodiversity, despite being so treacherous. Here, the pressure is so intense that the only way a person could ever explore it is by drone or submarine.
Even today, it is the lowest known point on the planet.
While we may not survive, there are some entities that have made it their habitat. Many are single-celled, although there are more complex life forms as well. There have been dozens of dives into the trench, with the bottom finally being reached in 2020. While various sights and sounds have been recorded, there are still several unanswered questions about how existence at these depths is even possible.
Their maps revealed that the Marianas Trench is just a tiny fraction of a network of enormous underwater canyons stretching right around the planet.
Number 20, the Gulf of Mexico shipwreck. In May of 2019, a group of researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration were conducting tests with underwater drones in the Gulf of Mexico when sonar picked up this mysterious wreckage.
We all just want to thank you guys for, one, finding this on a shakedown engineering dive, two, getting us all linked in and the opportunity to do this.
Marine archaeologists across the globe were immediately contacted to watch via live stream as the drone explored the ship. Apart from the number 2109, the researchers were unable to identify much about this ship of unknown origin. It's estimated to have been constructed 200 years ago, and based on the charred timber, it was likely burning when it sank.
Just looking at this style, the thickness of this copper, the size of these guys, I'm thinking we're probably a little later in the 19th century, more towards about 1850.
What tragic fate befell this vessel? Here's hoping we can learn more as NOAA continues to investigate. Either way, it's in good company. The Gulf is home to many such mysterious vessels.
This is the Oceanus Explorer. We are now on the seafloor. This is dive 12 from the northern Gulf of Mexico. We are diving on a shipwreck.
Number 19, a deadly undersea lake.
So there's a dead amphipod. That's what we mean by the jacuzzi of despair.
We generally think of all water within a given space as being homogeneous, but variables like temperature and the salinity levels can create entirely distinct sections. like lakes in oceans.
The jacuzzi, or sometimes hot tub moniker, is because it's warmer than the nearby 4 degrees Celsius ocean water. During return visits in 2015, researchers recorded temperatures from 7.8 up to 19 degrees.
At the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, 3,300 feet below the surface of the ocean, researchers have found just such a body of water. 12 feet deep and roughly 32 feet across, this undersea lake might be small, but it certainly packs a punch. Dubbed the Jacuzzi of Despair, it kills any sea creature foolish enough to test its depths.
Spending too long in it can send an eel into toxic shock.
This highly salinated water, rich in methane and hydrogen sulfide, is seriously toxic. Little is understood about the surreal undersea environment, but researchers think it might give us insight into the conditions on extraterrestrial planets. Number 18. Julia Sound. Recorded in 1999, Julia is the name given to a mysterious sound picked up by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It only lasted 15 seconds, but it captivated the scientific community and amateur theorists alike.
What's that sound?
NOAA suggested that it most likely originated from an iceberg colliding with the landmass of Antarctica, but this cannot be proven. What we do know is that it was loud enough to resonate across a massive section of the ocean. Those willing to consider more out-there possibilities have suggested it could be the sound of a massive unknown creature. Rumors abound about NASA satellite photos showing a huge shadow moving in the waters off of Antarctica around that time, but no such images have surfaced. Number 17. Adam's Bridge. Rama Setu, also known as Adam's Bridge, is a series of limestone shoals that form a rough connection between the northwest coast of Sri Lanka and Bouvet Island 30 miles away. The history of Rama Setu is intertwined with local legend. According to Hindu lore, it was built by an army of warrior monkeys known as Vanara to help the god Rama save his wife Sita from the demon king Ravana. While this origin story is widely treated as myth rather than reality, there are those who assert that Adam's Bridge was in fact built and was never a naturally occurring land bridge.
An American science channel has made startling revelations that the Ram Setu Bridge, commonly called the Adam's Bridge connecting India and Sri Lanka, is man-made and not natural.
All we know for sure is back in the 15th century, it was entirely above sea level and traversable.
How these stones got here is a mystery. And when a team of geologists date the stones, the mystery deepens.
Number 16. Macropinna microstoma.
Macropinna is a small, dark fish with large fins, a tiny mouth, and a remarkable pair of eyes.
Think that's a weird name? Wait till you see the fish it belongs to. First discovered in 1939, this mysterious and thoroughly alien-looking creature wasn't photographed alive until 2004.
The fish discovered alive by the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute is the first specimen of its kind to be found with its soft, transparent dome intact.
It spends its life at depths between 2,000 and 2,800 feet, and though it has been caught a number of times over the years, its fragile anatomy has made it incredibly challenging to study. From the barrel eye family, Macropinna microstoma has a translucent domed head, which, coupled with its unique tubular eyes, gives it an advantage over its prey.
When it spots food, it can rotate its eyes to look forward, to include its mouth in the field of view.
The tubular eyes are extremely well suited for capturing light in its dark habitat, while its domed head allows it to not only look forward, but also up through its own head. Unique? Sure, but also super creepy looking. Number 15. The Gulf of Kumbat Ruins. Discovered in the early 2000s, these alleged ruins are still generating controversy decades later. Located off the coast of Gujarat in the Gulf of Kumbat, this archaeological site is seemingly made up of city-like structures and home to various artifacts. But because the area was dredged rather than being explored via more careful methods of excavation, the scientific community is divided as to the significance of the results. The structures are compelling, but the relevance of the carbon-dated materials from the site is hotly debated. If they are indeed the tools of an ancient settlement dated at 9,500 years old, that would make the Gulf of Kumbat ruins the oldest known civilization. Number 14. Australia's cannibal shark. Just as lions rule the savannah, great white sharks rule the seas. Okay, technically killer whales have been known to target them, but that's not what happened here.
The recent discovery has led to a cutting-edge theory. The great white sharks could feed off each other.
Australian scientists were shocked and utterly perplexed when a 9-foot-long great white shark was apparently devoured. It had been tagged with a tracker as part of a study, and when said tracker washed up on shore, the data contained within showed a sudden spike in temperature followed by a staggering 1,900-foot dive.
A temperature that could only be achieved inside the belly of another living animal.
After careful investigation, the researchers were left with only one possible conclusion. It was eaten by a cannibal shark of the same species, estimated to be 16 feet long and 2 tons. Terrifying, right?
While great whites tend to avoid conflict, cannibalism is not unheard of.
Number 13, the Baltic Sea anomaly. In 2011, Swedish diving team Ocean X was searching for sunken treasure in the Gulf of Bothnia. They stumbled instead upon something far stranger. Using sonar equipment to take a rough image of the object, they reported it was 200 feet in diameter and bore distinct design patterns that seemed unnatural. Adding to the mystery of the Baltic Sea anomaly is the fact that, according to the team, there was electrical interference in the area, preventing them from getting a clearer image.
It's definitely a very sharp edge, and I haven't seen this before, and when I just look at it now, it definitely looks like man-made.
The team has even suggested that it could be a UFO. Needless to say, scientists are skeptical.
Okay, that's sort of true. According to the Ocean Explorer team, it's not actually obviously a spacecraft. It's not even made of metal.
It doesn't hurt, though, that the structure looks vaguely like the Millennium Falcon or Ebon Hawk from Star Wars. Number 12, light wheels in the Persian Gulf.
It's there, right? There's something there.
We're starting to notice a pattern here. If you're on the hunt for an oceanic mystery of your very own, explore a gulf. Sometimes poetically referred to as ghosts of the ocean, light wheels are large glowing circles of light that appear on the water and have been observed for decades. Some reports actually go all the way back to the 18th century. Often measuring hundreds of feet in diameter, these eye-catching anomalies have been explained away, most notably by oceanographer Kurt Kalle as the result of bioluminescent plankton and seismic waves. While plausible, such theories struggle to explain the variety of shapes that the light wheels take, or the fact that they appear to spin at varying speeds. Number 11, the Milky Seas effect.
Went mad he did, raving about sirens, merfolk, bad omens and the like. In the end, weren't no more sense left in him than an hen's tooth.
Sailors' tall tales are often dismissed as mere superstition. Well, the Milky Seas effect is one story that we can confirm, even if we don't entirely understand it. Historically, sailors have reported seeing large sections of the sea become a pale milky white or blue and emit a faint glow. Now, thanks to modern technology, we know that the Milky Seas effect is not only real, but the result of bioluminescent bacteria. While that's all well and good, we still can't figure out what causes these sudden explosions in bacterial populations, or the other variables that result in this unique sight. Number 10, Leptocephalus gigantus. Described by Anton Brunn in 1930 and Peter Henry John Castle in 1959, Leptocephalus gigantus is an extremely rare species of eel thought by some to swim the ocean depths. Only 2 such specimens have ever been studied, and they were in the larval state, meaning that they were nowhere close to reaching maturity. But even as a larva, one specimen was roughly 6 feet in length. And given that eel larva is typically 1/32nd of its adult length, that would suggest a truly monstrous eel come maturity. Now, contemporary scientists have suggested that Leptocephalus gigantus was likely misidentified and would not grow substantially beyond that point. But without further study, it's impossible to say. Leptocephalus gigantus could be the reality behind sea serpents. Number 9, the Aegean Sea ruins. In 2015, researchers hailing from Greece and Sweden made one of the most remarkable archaeological discoveries of the 21st century. Working south of Athens in the Colossal Bay, the team was exploring fertile territory. The area is rich in archaeological sites, but nothing could have prepared them for what they found. What began with a few pottery fragments led researchers to uncover the ruins of an entire lost city, one that occupied somewhere in the ballpark of 12 acres of land. The city dates back to the Bronze Age and was seemingly protected by a wall complete with defensive towers, structures unseen until now in any other ancient Greek sites. How this seemingly once great city fell, however, is anyone's guess. Number 8. The Colossal Squid.
Release the Kraken!
This terrifying deep-sea beast was first discovered in 1925, and its existence admittedly lends a certain credibility to all those myths about sea monsters. Because colossal squids are so elusive, our knowledge of their anatomy is somewhat limited, but based on beaks that have been recovered, it's been hypothesized that at maturity, they could weigh up to 1,500 pounds and measure 30 to 33 feet in length.
Steve was expecting the squid to be more than 30 feet long. It's only half that.
Only a handful of specimens have ever been found, which makes sense given that they generally inhabit the Antarctic Ocean and dwell at depths of up to 7,200 feet. As if the colossal squid's size wasn't intimidating enough, they're armed with both swiveling and three-pointed hooks on their limbs. Number 7. The Ruins of Dwarka. The lost city of Dwarka is one of the rare instances of a myth possibly being confirmed as fact. According to legend, the Hindu deity Krishna founded the now legendary city of Dwarka long ago. The city is sacred in the Hindu faith and is said to have been unparalleled in its beauty and splendor, rich in greenery, wildlife, and palaces.
They've found some walls and they found some stuff that carbon dates 32,000 years ago.
It was utopia, that is, until it was swallowed up by the sea. The Dwarka of legend has understandably long been dismissed as a work of fiction, but in the 1980s, with the discovery of underwater ruins off the coast of the modern-day coastal town of Dwarka, people were forced to reconsider that assumption. The research continues to this day. Number 6. The Bimini Road.
Gentlemen, I propose that we find Atlantis, find that power source, and bring it back to the surface.
Dubbed the Road to Atlantis, the Bimini Road, or Bimini Wall as some would argue, is a rock formation that runs for half a mile underwater in the Bahamas. Located near North Bimini Island, this mysterious marine landmark is made up of large, roughly rectangular limestone blocks, which seem to form a road or wall-like pattern.
If you look at the Bimini Road, the sand on one side, the sand on the other side, and there's a clear, defined pathway.
Analysis of the stones, including carbon dating, has led researchers to conclude that the Bimini Road is a natural formation resulting from erosion and the currents. But given that there are 2 other similar patterns in the area, and considering the fact that some of the stones appear to be stacked atop one another, there are some who maintain that there's more to the Bimini Road than carbon dating suggests.
Bimini Road has been dated at around 2,000 to 4,000 years old. Too young to be a part of Atlantis, but again, the accuracy of carbon dating is admittedly questionable.
Number 5. The Cascadia Margin. This subduction zone on the west coast of the United States is notable for a bizarre yet fascinating biological happening.
I've got every light on. Oh, beautiful.
The greenhouse gas methane seeps from the sea floor and rises through the sea column. Though it rarely reaches the surface, this is unusual tectonic activity which creates unique ecosystems within the region.
Smile.
While the lack of oxygen and presence of chemicals could prove toxic, the area's creatures have learned to adapt and thrive. But on a more unsettling note, the methane present in the Cascadia margin could vent more easily as the oceans warm, a shift that would contribute to climate change. Number 4. Bloop. The Julia recording certainly made waves in the scientific community, but if there's one deep-sea sound file that people never seem to get tired of debating, it's the bloop. And it's not just scientists versus conspiracy theorists. Not even researchers within relevant fields seem to be able to agree about its origins.
There were occasionally, rarely, but occasionally there were sounds that we just could not identify.
This ultra-low frequency, high-amplitude sound was recorded in 1997. First, it was speculated that the sound was caused by icebergs dragging along the ocean floor. But then in 2002, Christopher Fox of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration speculated that it had been produced by an animal. Flash forward another 10 years, and the NOAA was once again pointing towards icequakes. Number 3. The Megalodon.
But that's going to be the other alternative.
Human history across various cultures is chock full of myths and legends about sea monsters that tormented sailors of yesteryears. Unlike the Leviathan or the Kraken, however, we know for a fact that the Megalodon once swam these seas. The word Megalodon literally means big tooth.
And these 7-inch teeth are almost all that remain of this extraordinary creature. No skeletons have ever been found.
Measuring up to 59 feet in length and reaching upwards of 59 metric tons, these prehistoric terrors certainly earn the name. The general scientific consensus is that they went extinct millions of years ago, but there are those who believe they continue to survive in secret. And it's not just Discovery Channel fueling the speculation. Species like the coelacanth and megamouth shark remind us that anything could lurk in the ocean depths. Number 2. The Lost Submarines of 1968. Life aboard a submarine isn't for the faint of heart. You are literally trapped in a long metallic cylinder hundreds of feet below the surface of the ocean. When something goes wrong, it often goes very wrong. Despite the inherent risks, however, 4 such vessels going missing in quick succession makes for an incredible coincidence. With 318 lives and 4 subs lost in a single calendar year, 1968 is the most deadly year in submarine history since the end of World War II. The USS Scorpion, the INS Dakar, the Minerve, and the K-129, hailing from the States, Israel, France, and the Soviet Union respectively, all disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and continue to be the subject of speculation decades later. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Bermuda Triangle. Roughly defined by Puerto Rico, Miami, and the island of Bermuda, this triangle is the subject of much superstition.
Using the terminology of today, you would call the triangle.
Well, I mean, this is the oldest fake news story in the world.
For the record, this is among the most heavily traveled stretches of ocean in the world, and most trips are completed without incident. But the accidents and disappearances that have transpired are notably strange. The Ellen Austin incident allegedly saw not 1 but 2 crews disappear from a derelict ship found in the triangle. The USS Cyclops was a US Navy ship that disappeared with all 309 sailors. There are countless such stories, leaving an enduring shroud of mystery over these stormy seas.
Ships that have shown up absolutely empty, no sign of any struggle, and yet the crew has just vanished.
Which mysteries of the deep do you hope get solved soon? Let us know in the comments below.